5 on ITV or stream live on ITV Hub.
Now here on ITV, time for all the very latest ITV lunchtime news.
Good afternoon. The Archbishop of Canterbury has criticised the government's plans to send some asylum seekers that have come to the UK to Rwanda. During his Easter sermon this morning, he said the controversial policy could not stand the judgment of God. Justin Welby is the latest person to attack the plan, which has also been criticised by opposition parties and charities. Well, Catherine Sampson is with me now. These are strong words from the Archbishop.
Yes, and look, the Archbishop of Canterbury has been known to make political interventions before, but perhaps ministers may have been somewhat taken aback by the strength of this, coming, of course, at this very high-profile Easter Sunday service. Now, over the last few days, yes, we've heard opposition MPs attack the Rwanda plan as unethical, but we've heard that claim made by some Conservative MPs too. Well, this morning at Canterbury Cathedral, the congregation were told by Justin Welby that while the details of this scheme should be left to politics, he said that God would not approve of the principle.
Subcontracting out our responsibilities, even to a country that seeks to do well, like Rwanda, is the opposite of the nature of God, who himself took responsibility for our failures.
Well, the government is facing stern opposition to this policy, even questions from within the Home Office.
Yes, and while the talk this morning has been about morality, there are big questions here about money too. We know Priti Patel, the Home Secretary, had to take personal responsibility for the costs of this plan. It's a £120 million scheme because of concerns that were raised by civil servants. Now, Priti Patel says that this Rwanda plan, it will tackle the small boats crisis in the Channel. She says it will act as a deterrent. The Home Office have issued a statement this morning defending the policy. They say Rwanda is fundamentally safe and secure for asylum seekers, and that all claims are going to be processed in line with human rights laws. Though we do expect legal challenges for this, and the government's stated aim of starting to send asylum seekers to Rwanda within weeks does start to look rather ambitious.
OK, Catherine, thank you very much. A deadline for the Ukrainian soldiers in the besieged city of Mariupol to lay down their weapons has just expired. Russia had said it would guarantee the lives of any fighters who surrender. Overnight, President Zelensky described the situation there as inhuman and warned if Russia eliminated the last defenders, it would mean the end to peace talks. Callum Watkinson has the latest.
Heavily bombarded, valiantly defended, Mariupol is surrounded by Russian forces, with an ultimatum from their commanders to the last defenders of the city: surrender or die. The deadline for the fighters, blockaded in a steelworks, has now passed, and Russia's defense spokesman claimed today many are foreign mercenaries and warned their time is up.
400 foreign mercenaries are now surrounded on the territory of the Azovstal enterprise. Most of them are citizens of European countries and Canada. We have previously reported that radio communications between militants in Mariupol are conducted in 6 foreign languages. In case of further resistance, all of them will be destroyed.
Konashenkov also said an ammunition factory had been destroyed overnight in the Kiev region, where this missile attack yesterday drew a plea from the city's mayor for people who have fled to stay away. The president, meanwhile, had a warning of his own that a brutal end to the defence of Mariupol would end all peace negotiations too. The situation in Mariupol remains as severe as possible, he said, calling the siege inhuman. This is what the Russian Federation did deliberately. Russia is deliberately trying to destroy everyone who is there. The fall of Mariupol could be decisive in the battle for the wider Donbass. In the village of Sviatohursk, once a holiday destination, reservists have replaced the tourists in the restaurants. And as the elderly go about their business to the rumble of artillery, many here are preparing for a fight to the end. Callum Watkinson, ITV News.
The Pope has urged political leaders to hear the people's plea for peace in Ukraine.
Sia pace per la martoriata Ucraina.
Pope Francis used his Easter Sunday message to warn of the risk of nuclear warfare, that conflicts in other parts of the world may go unnoticed. He has repeatedly called for an end to the fighting in Ukraine. Prince Harry and Meghan will be spectators today as the first full day of competition is underway at the Invictus Games in the Netherlands. The tournament for wounded, injured and sick servicemen and women was founded by the Duke in 2014. The couple spoke at last night's opening ceremony and both expressed support for members of the Ukrainian team.
For each team, my husband and I both recognize it's been a lot to get here, not least of which for the Ukraine team, whom we are all standing with.
Your bravery in choosing to come and for being here tonight cannot be overstated.
Well, back here, and the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have joined other members of the royal family for the annual Easter Sunday church service. William and Kate arrived at St George's Chapel in Windsor with their children, Prince George and Princess Charlotte. The Queen was not there. It is the latest event she has missed after experiencing mobility issues in recent weeks. The Prince of Wales and Duchess of Cornwall were also absent after representing the Queen at Thursday's Royal Maundy service. Finally, this lunchtime early this week, we brought you the story of Gabriel Clark, the 12-year-old Cumbrian boy who is putting his woodworking skills to good use, raising money to help Ukrainian refugees by raffling a bowl he made. Well, with just a few hours left to enter, he has raised more than £200,000, smashing his original target by almost 44 times. And that is all this lunchtime. Romilly Weeks will be here with the evening news after ITV's FA Cup coverage. Until then, do enjoy your Easter Sunday. Bye-bye.
There's a chilly tang in the air, so you may want to pop on an extra layer. HP Source sponsors ITV National Weather.